how do you become more fit so you can enjoy the outdoors? A little bit of a background. About 2 years ago or so, I weighed well over 250 pounds. I stopped weighing myself because it was embarrassing to me. If I had to guess, I weighed right around 300 and I weighed a lot, you know. And within that time, I hunted a lot, and the struggles of being overweight I never really noticed anything too difficult about it because I was so used to it. But obviously, being overweight, it's very hard. You know, it has its own challenges. And when it comes to the woods, like Mother Nature, being fat and Mother Nature just don't mix very well. If you're overweight, you know what it's like to avoid going over any obstacles like trees. You know what it's like to walking through the woods and you're out of breath. You dread the hills. You dread scouting. You dread dragging the deer out. You dread all these different things, all because of one thing, and that's being overweight. So I'm going to point out my story. I'm going to give you guys some references on what I had to deal with, and then we'll discuss how I discovered that I was so fat and then what I did about it. So first things first, anytime, you know, if you want to kill a deer or kill a buck specifically, you got to do a lot of scouting. You got to put in the work. If you're planning on going to a different location where you're not familiar with, you want to make sure that you understand you want to understand the puzzle, okay? So you can put all the pieces together. And that's where scouting comes into play. You have to scout to see where deer are coming from, where they're going, where's the food sources, where's the bedding, all this stuff. And doing any sort of scouting, the shit sucked, especially when you go down to like southern Ohio where there's actual mountains and hills. It's not enjoyable, man. And you're just, you know, anytime you go through the woods, you're constantly like just struggling, just even walking on flat ground. You're rolling your ankles, you're out of breath, you're not enjoying it. If it's the summertime, it's horrible because you are like just profusely sweating and all this. And overall, it's not fun, okay? I mean, it's more of like a legitimate workout than it is actually trying to find deer and trying to understand the big puzzle. So that's just the scouting aspect. The hunting aspect was even more of a pain in the ass because, you know, what involves hunting if you're going to hunt up in a tree? Well, you got to climb. And when you have a very hard time trying to pull yourself up with climbing sticks, or if you do a one-sticking method with a saddle, or just anything when it comes to climbing, it's a fucking challenge, especially when you are layered up, you know, due to winter. You need to be layered up to combat the cold. Well, now, on top of how fat you are, you're also having to deal with the bulkiness of your clothing, and your mobility is even more reduced. So it's just like a horrible combination of like everything. So actually climbing the tree, it's horrible. You're making noises, you're cramping. You can't extend around the tree to set your tree tether or a lifeline or whatever because you're so fucking fat. You can't even reach your arms around it because your stomach is protruding 10 inches from your body. So that's just climbing. You get to the top, you're out of breath, you're out of shape, you don't want to do it. So there's that. Then the actual hunting aspect, you're sitting up in a tree stand, your ass is hurting. I mean, you might be exceeding the weight limit of that tree stand, so you're putting your fucking life on the line for that. And then when it comes to saddle hunting, from my experience, it was horrible. Like, you know, it's one thing to be sitting down in an unnatural position for hours on end, but it's another thing when you are sitting in that unnatural position and you have like an excess of 100 plus pounds of body weight that you should not be having on your body. So this is where the hip pinch comes into play. You know, a lot of people talk about saddles and hip pinching. That just exacerbated when it comes to you being overweight. You got your fat rolls dangling over the saddle edges itself. So you got your literal own fat rolls that are in pain. Your stomach is all squinched up. You try to like bend over. Like the whole ordeal is like almost a nightmare. And then after the fact, if you manage to sit there a while in your uncomfortable self-pity stew and you shoot a buck or you harvest a doe, the most dreadful thing comes to play, and that is dragging that son of a bitch out of the woods. And if you are out of shape, to test how out of shape you are, all you got to do is drag a deer. Me and my buddy, he's right behind the camera. We drug a deer out that was maybe half a mile out, and I was out of shape, he was out of shape, and we both were we were dying. I still remember I shot my first buck. Had to drag it through a swamp and then through just this huge mess. We had to go over trees and stuff. And it was like a 2, 3, 4 hour ordeal. I kind of forget how long it was. By the end of it, we were thanking God that we finally made it to the truck. So when you're just out of shape, you have all these different factors in Mother Nature that are completely against you. And then you have your own self that's going completely against you. So the odds are just completely stacked against your favor. I remember one day, me and my buddy were out, we were shooting content, and it was actually the first time I ever shot or I ever tried doing the one-stick climbing method. And I brought him out there because I knew he's a good photographer. He's right behind the camera. And he was shooting pictures of me. And I finally got up to the top with my one stick. I was rappelling. I remember getting down on the ground, taking off my gear, and I was super excited. I ran over to him to check what he took, and lo and behold, I wasn't so excited about the fact that he took banging pictures, which he did. I absolutely loved it, but my heart sunk, dude, because I saw how fucking fat I was. And I will actually throw pictures up on the screen what I looked like. That right there, you could literally see my gut protruding from my body. And in my mind, this is content for my business, for Bullpath. I can't let a person see this. I cannot let a single person see my gut past my dick like this, dude. So I'm like, holy shit. So thankfully, my buddy, since he's a professional photographer, he took 1 billion photos and videos to where I could actually hide the fact that I was so fat. And here's a good example right here. So literally in that moment, I realized how fucking fat I was. That was devastating. Dude, when you see that's why fat people avoid stuff like that. They avoid going out. They avoid pictures. They avoid friends and family. It's because we're so fat. It's like we just don't want to show anybody. After that, I remember my buddy calling me fat. And that was just a fucking crushing blow right to my gut. And I was like, okay, I'm changing. So I changed. 2 years later, I am probably the most fit I've ever been in my entire life. I'm about 16% body fat. I have about probably another 3 months till I start seeing my abs. I've been killing it. I've been grinding. It's been rough. It's been very rough. But I got to experience what it's like to hunt fit. And I'll tell you this, it is a major world difference. First things first, climbing's easier. Scouting's way easier. Running through the woods out of breath, or you're running through the woods without running out of breath. Hunting just becomes way more enjoyable. You can sit in a saddle and be actually comfortable and not have your body completely squinched up like a big butterball. Hunting out of tree stands is more enjoyable because, I mean, fuck, you lost 100 pounds. So when you're sitting down, you know, you're way lighter than what you used to be. And then after the fact, when you kill something, you have way more stamina to actually drag that deer out. Yeah, dragging deer suck, but if you take a fat person that's 100 pounds overweight and you take a dude that's in tip-top shape, they're both going to struggle just as equally, but the one that is actually in shape, he's going to be able to recover much faster. It's not going to be that hard for him, and he's going to be able to actually enjoy the process. The fat dude is going to be struggling really, really hard and not enjoy it, and then he's also going to think twice about killing a deer on public land like I have. You know, there's been deers that I've dragged out when I was super fat, and I passed up on deer because I did not want to deal with the fact that I was going to drag this sumbitch out by myself. So when you're fit, you don't have to deal with those, you know, questions. You know, you know you're capable of being able to drag something out and not die from it. And just overall, everything is just so much more enjoyable. How did I do it? And I feel like it's so simple. People just don't do it because they overcomplicate things. It's calorie ins versus calories out. Okay, what you do is you find your maintenance level. You find exactly how many calories you burn a day to maintain a static level within your weight. And then all you do is you just deduct from that maintenance level, you deduct calories, and that's it. Once you deduct calories, you will be beginning to lose weight. It doesn't matter if, let's say your calorie intake to maintain your weight is 2,000 calories a day. You can eat one meal of McDonald's that equals 1,800 calories every single day, and you will lose fat. You won't feel the best. You might feel like absolute trash. You might not hit your protein goal and build the muscle that you want, but you will lose fat. That's how simple it really is. I highly recommend not doing that because, like I just said, you are going to be feeling like shit. And that's the whole point of feeling better and lifting weights and becoming healthier, is to feel better. But like I said, you deduct your calories and you stay in that level until wherever you're happy, whatever you're happy with, and then you can, resume maintaining, or you can bulk up and build muscle. There's so many different things you can do. But the name of the game is to just deduct calories and eat less. That's all you got to do. Another tip is just making sure that you are physically active. I'm talking going on 20-minute walks every single day, run every day, doing push-ups, burpees, pull-ups, dips, all those things. If you want to actually build muscle, you can start introducing the gym into your lifestyle. There's just a lot of different things that you can do that is physical and is fun, and you lose weight at the same time. Like for me, every single spring and summer, I go out in the woods and I do a lot of scouting. I enjoy it because I want to find the deer that I want to kill. But also on the flip side, I'm putting in 10,000 steps every scouting session, and right there, I just got pretty much a killer workout. And the last thing that I want to talk about is consistency. You're not going to get anywhere in life without being consistent. The way that I looked at it when I first started is, how do I want to be for the rest of my life? Do I really want to eat fast food for the rest of my life? No. Do I want to be healthy for the rest of my life? Yes. Okay, what can I do to maintain a consistent diet and training routine? The first thing that I did was go slow. Don't kill yourself. Don't go overdrive. Don't try to, lose 20 pounds within the first month. Take your time. That's where a lot of people burn out. That's where a lot of people lose hope, because when you're going balls to the wall and you don't see progress within the first 2 or 3 months, you're going to fucking hate yourself. You're going to be discouraged and you're going to quit, and you're just going to throw your hands up in the air and be like, I tried it, it never worked. Okay, so instead of having a goal within a very short time period, within like a month or 2 months, set it for a year, set it for 5 years, set it for 10 years. Set it up to where in order to achieve that goal, it's going to take consistent work, and it's going to be a long and enduring journey. That's what you need to do. One of the best things that I did to make sure that I was consistent was to never weigh myself. I never weighed myself. The only way that I weighed myself was this belt. I actually had to replace this belt, but there's new notches in this belt right here. My other belt, it was just so much slack that I just had to get a new belt. That's one way that I did it. Another way was never look at myself in a mirror. I never did. Anything that you do to measure yourself, I never did. For like a year and a half, I just never did it. The only way that I could tell that I was making progress was through my belt and my clothes. I used to wear like double XL. XLs were a little too tight. Now that thing, an XL t-shirt, I would not fit in that. Let me give you guys a little bit of an example. So this is a medium shirt. This is a medium shirt. It's an American. This is a medium shirt. I would have never been able to fit in this thing ever in my entire life. I mean, a medium shirt would have ripped for me 2 years ago. And basically, this is the only way that I've ever measured myself. And eventually, once you start making a lot of progress and you can feel it and people are telling you, then you're going to start weighing yourself. But just try to limit those kind of things. Just use your t-shirt, your pants, and your belt. That's what I've done to, be consistent and not get myself too discouraged. And I would honestly say that has been one of the biggest reasons why I have been so successful. Just fuck it, dude. You don't need to weigh yourself. It's just a number. And when you start getting down into the body weight that I'm at, I have weighed myself recently. I weigh like 175. You don't want to really lose too much weight anymore. Like I want to be up to like 190 lean body mass, lean muscle. That's what I want. But first, I want to get abs, so I'm just going to keep, shedding that weight, and then eventually I'm going to bulk up and do that whole cycle and get into more experimental things, as you will. But yeah, that's my best tip that I can offer. And if there's anything that you guys need help with or have any questions, just reach out. Go to bullpathgear.com, go to our contact page, and you can reach out to me from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time.